going on, everybody? My name is Michael Elsea, and I would say, a car nut. I've been through quite a few, more than I can keep up with, but I do keep all my bill of sales whenever I actually write one, and there's a large stack. So the first story I want to tell you guys is about my very first car, which I still have through an estimated maybe 40-50 cars and trucks. So my first car, turned 16 years old in June, and I was at a high school football game, and my friend went up to the Pigeon Forge Rod Run, and we lived in Pelham, Alabama. So Pigeon Forge is maybe 5.5, 6 hours away, and we always traveled around with his dad and his uncles to Super Chevy shows and stuff like that. So they were always spotting cars for me. When we go to shows, his dad would look at them because I was 16 and I had no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know what rust was or any of that. I didn't know how to spot it. So he spotted one for me. He said, "Hey man, there's a 78 Camaro up here. Looks really clean, just a nice, normal, solid car." And it was like $6,000 or something. So I'd been working and saving up birthday money, and I actually worked for his father, who owned a construction company, and he was fortunate enough to have us as employees when we were 14, 15 years old, because we were great at picking up trash. So we started at the bottom, and I somehow scrounged up enough money. My dad, we got in our Toyota Sienna minivan and took the trip up to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which was great bonding time now that I look back at it. And we get there, I see the car, fall in love with it immediately, which at that point I fell in love with everything I saw. And his dad and my dad always gave me a hard time because I just wanted, anytime there was a Camaro, I had to have it. So the guys were actually from Georgia, where we currently are right now, ironically. And we decided to go for a test drive. If you've ever been in the Pigeon Forge Rod Run, you know how great the test drives are up there. So we spent about 45 minutes in the car on this test drive, and we made it approximately one block up, and then we curved around right back to the parking lot where we were. So I did about a quarter mile test drive in traffic, and it didn't overheat or anything. So my friend's dad checked it over and said it should make the drive back down to Birmingham. So I believe we ended up settling at about $5,750. I think my dad might have had to stroke a check for like an extra $500 or something that I was short. So he helped me out big time there. Cruised down to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and spent the night with my grandmother and got to show her my beautiful new Camaro. And then the next morning we finished the drive back down to Birmingham, and it was a great car. Still is a great car. We ended up doing a 5-speed manual in it, a GM Performance small block Chevy crate motor, which was quite amazing. And the car saw many things after it became in my ownership as a high school and college student, as you can imagine. So there were a lot of women involved, where at one point the car was trashed in front of my friend's house. That started a huge inter-school battle royale, I like to call it, over that car getting trashed. So there's pictures somewhere that my dad took. There was literally trash all inside the car, and dog feces spread all over my car. So that was quite a disheartening story, but it ended well for me, I guess. But without going too far into that detail, we had fun with it. Got to do a lot of autocrossing and 2 trips to Panama City Beach for spring break that I totally forgot about till now. One trip on the way home, when we decided it was a good idea to leave at 2:30 in the morning. We were all sober except one of my friends in the back seat was passed out. This is the only time I almost lost this car. We were going down the interstate, I was driving, I was awake, and then next thing I know, we're in the grass in the middle of the interstate, and I woke up, whipped it back on the road. The guy who'd been passed out for 3 hours woke up, looked around, and went back to sleep. So we ended up making it home in it. Later in college, right after I graduated, one of my fraternity brothers came over. Brian, what's up, man? We decided to tear down the car to put a new quarter panel on and a floor pan, which I had no idea how to do at the time. and that's as far as we got, and I ended up moving out. The car never got done. It's now sat for probably 5 years, and I recently just got going on it again. So it's gonna be a sweet car, and it's just one of those things I've always kept, that you always run into people who sold their first car and heavily regret it. And I'm glad I'm not that guy, because I came close a few times to getting rid of it, just getting fed up with it and wanting a newer car, a more competitive car for autocross and something better to drift. But I'm so glad I held on to that car, because it just has so much character to it now. And there's just a bond with me in that car, with how many like friends we've been through together, how many incidents and just good times, bad times, and I still have it. And her name is Edna, after the grandma in The Simpsons, because I grew up loving The Simpsons, so that's where she got her name from. And up until recently, that's the only car I've ever named, because it's the only one I ever planned on keeping. So maybe in another video I'll talk about the second car I named, which I still have. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you all enjoyed it, and maybe Taylor will have me on again one day.